My name's Guy. I live locally. I'm a decorator. I'm 60 years old. Been skateboarding for 47 years. It's more or less all I give a shit about, to be honest with you. I've been living here for 22 years. On this street in Bow, Devons Road, which is like literally a 3-minute skate from here, something like that, which is the reason I haven't moved out of this horrible area. I actually grew up in Essex in a place called Southend-on-Sea, which is about 45 miles away on the Thames estuary. So as the Thames empties out into the North Sea, that's sort of where I lived. I was born in London, and it's Essex. Essex isn't really where anyone wants to live, you know, unless they're a farmer or something like that. Or yeah, I just needed to come back to London really. So I came back in 1995. So I've been back here like nearly 30 years. 1977, I got on a skateboard. It was actually, yeah, I think it was in July, and a friend of mine had one, and I got on it and it just fell off straight away. And that was it really. Well, I wasn't that hooked then. I kind of looked at it as a bit of a toy really. But then in late November 77, I just happened to be with a group of my relatives who were ramblers. They were like walking everywhere, right? I got dragged into walking somewhere with them. I think I was 13, and we walked past the South Bank, and there was about 200 skateboarders there, and they carried on walking, and they didn't realise I'd stopped. And I was just like watching it for, I don't know, quite a while, and that was when I was hooked. It's 1978, that sort of summer and spring, I started going to the South Bank. I wasn't allowed to go there, so because I live, 45 miles away. But there was a little gang of us, and we all used to say that we were staying around each other's houses and get the train up here and spend the night at the South Bank. Just there's no one around. It was pretty cool, but yeah, just skate all night. It was great. Those were the days. Well, when I moved here, there was just a bit of dirty old land here, and it was like old fridges and piles of dirt. It was just been fly tipped. There was nothing here at all, and I thought that'd be a good place for a skate park, so I organised a meeting with the council down here, and had a couple of meetings with them, and kind of planted the seed. And the idea was that I was going to try and, I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can raise money. They didn't want to buy it. They didn't want to spend any money. It was a time where there wasn't many parks being built around London at all. And it was really difficult to get a council to agree to build one. So I hooked up with this company called the Extreme Channel. I don't know if you remember them. They were quite big, sort of a kind of cable TV show. And I said, I'm going to skate from John O'Groats to Land's End, like the length of the country. And they were like, oh, that's a good idea. And it started to progress. They were actually going to have a show of me doing this. It was like, it just sort of grew and grew and grew. And then eventually I realised that all the sponsors that I'd approached, like Nike and Orange, which was a big phone provider, and Sprite, like any sort of branding or whatever, that I was going to be displaying would have to be pixelated out because they already got sponsors to pay for the show. So I just had to bail out, which is a shame. Someone ended up doing it like 50. No one did that. Okay. But someone ended up doing the actual skate, I think. And they did it as a warm-up to skate across Australia, I think, which is pretty cool. So, It's just something I've always wanted to do, really. Like way before then, just do the length of the country. But I'm not going to do it now. I'm too old. I kind of drove the council mad for years, like sending them emails and whatnot. Just didn't get anywhere. And then one day, I don't know, maybe some young sort of councillor said, "Oh look, that was a good idea. Let's do that." So then, finally they found funds for it, and they took all of the credit. Obviously, I don't really care about that. Everyone knows the truth. But yeah, that was 15 years ago they built it. So it took 7 years from my initial inquiry. But yeah, it was worth waiting. That sounds a bit lame though. I bumped into an old skating friend. He said to me, "How often do you skate?" I said, "Whenever I can." And I realised as soon as I said it, the look of disdain he gave me, he's just kind of like, "Yeah, right," like that. And I realised, no, that's a real cop-out. I basically, if it's sunny or if it's just dry, I'm here. It doesn't matter. If it's -10, I'll still be here, as long as it's not too slippery, I'd obviously have to work, but I'm self-employed, so there's many a day I can't work late because I wanted to skate first, But, life's short, right? And it's something I love. I'm glad, really. Glad I do it. I never feel guilty. Yeah. And I also occasionally work on movies and TV shows. I haven't for a couple of years now, though. I think that it's been really bad. The whole industry's been a bit build, props, sets, painting, build, all sorts of stuff. Just mainly in the Middle East. Last time I was out there was Saudi Arabia, which was 2 years ago. I was out there 6 months. Because the guys that hire me or include me in the art department, that's where they get predominantly the most of their work comes from there. Unfortunately, because I'd rather go somewhere nice like South America or whatever, Yeah, I mean, just more or less wherever I am in my skate is like my favourite place, I suppose. I know it might sound a bit pathetic, but it's true. Yeah. No, not really. I mean, there's a bunch of places I could think of, but nothing sort of really sort of stepped, I mean, I've travelled a lot, right? So there's, I don't think you can pick one over the other, really. I've skated in 40 countries, I think. Something like that. The last one was Jordan. Yeah, that's pretty mad. I think they acted like they'd never seen one before. It's crazy. It was like that in Thailand as well, actually, in 1990. Yeah, I had 5 hours for a flight, and I was just skating outside the airport. I had a big crowd around me. Just do like a couple of spins, and everyone's clapping, and it was pretty crazy. Moan. I go, oh, like that. Not too long, but it's getting longer. Yeah, daily routine. God, dear. Right. Well, I suppose, apart from the obvious, I do like breakfast, and I like a deep, nice bit of bacon or whatever. But that's not what I usually eat. What I usually eat is porridge with dates chopped up. So it's cooked with the dates, and kind of some mad sort of seed topping on it, and a bit of apple puree, and a little bit of cinnamon, and some nice creamy milk. Just not so much though, right? And that is the breakfast of champions. It is really good. But yeah, I do like coffee, but I don't like drinking a lot of it, and I never buy coffee from anywhere like Starbucks or whatever. I started getting it delivered every 2 weeks. I get 250 grams of beans. So every morning it's like a ritual, grind them up, put them in a thing, every morning, you know. So I'd say that because I don't always eat breakfast. Usually I do, but sometimes I might not really feel like eating. So, but I will always have a coffee. I'll go like that for about 2 minutes. Yeah, yeah. Just kind of think about what I need for the day. I've got a little lock up next to my flat that I just have to rummage around in, get the bits and bobs I need for the day, you know. And then, yeah, just. I mean, I try and work locally. I don't really work at, you know, I used to do a load of work in South London, and at the end of the week, you spent a day travelling. It's just unacceptable. I'm not willing to. I'd rather not have any money and not work, because it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to do that. There's work everywhere, you know. And so it's just a case of me more and more honing my ability of, you know, finding and securing. I'm fine. Once I've got someone in front of me, I'll get that job. Yeah, but it's actually getting the leads. You know, it was just like you do one job and then they recommend you, and all of a sudden you find yourself going down there every day, and you know, it's just miserable, really. So yeah, I started working with an app. It's called Nextdoor, and it's a local app. It's run by the people that do LinkedIn. And I just started putting a little advert on there and got a few little jobs, and then got a couple of recommendations. But it's not, there's no money, you know, there's no money behind it. You don't have to pay anyone. It's all free. So it's kind of like Facebook, but where Facebook has probably shed a lot of complete and utter arseholes, they're now in Nextdoor. You know, everyone's like very right wing and fucking crazy. Excuse my French. All right, bruv.
All right.
How you doing? Yeah, I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. And I would have done. A good friend of mine, a Canadian, had moved there, but he only stayed there a year. He was going to settle there. And then all of a sudden he just up six and moved back to Halifax. I'm like, what? So I don't know if I'm ever going to make it out there, which is a shame. But I've always wanted to go there, but then after I got into sort of Brazil a bit, and that became a bit more where I wanted to go. But I've done that now, so now I want to. New Zealand's back up there. I wouldn't want to go to Iceland.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Iceland. I think I've been to every country in Europe except for Austria. Well, I've had moments, I suppose. Yeah, you know, just. When you get promoted at work or something like that, you know, you've been working hard for it. I used to work on the stock market, and they take you on for 6 months probation, and the wages are pretty low, and then they say, right, we're taking you on full time. Here's your new wage packet, and yeah, that was a good. I remember that, feeling really good about that, because I actually got taken on 3 months early, so I was kind of. I remember getting quite emotional walking home, walking to the station, because I lived in Southend and had to come here every day on the train with a suit. You know, it was terrible. It's horrible. I kind of liked it at the time, though. I mean, everything's an experience, right? So, if it's a bad experience, you should try and ditch it, whether or not you feel you have to or you're obligated to. But I've had quite a lot of different jobs. Yeah, I've done all sorts of stuff. I mean, because I lived in Canada for a couple of years, so I did all sorts of things out there, painting houses, shoveling snow, raking up leaves at this time of year. You know, and obviously what I normally do, painting. But yeah, I've taught martial arts for 2 years, like exclusively, just that. You know, this film thing, and I knew it wasn't going to last. You know, they seem to be in 2 year spurts. I'll do that for 2 years, then that, then that. I don't regret any of it, really. I think that, I think, it's hard to say, really, but I just look around, I see a lot of really unhappy people, you know, and they've compromised themselves, you know. It's like, oh, I've got a mortgage. Look at me, how fucking lucky I am. I don't think you're lucky at all. Because, you know, you miss a couple of months' work, that's gone. Yeah? You know what I mean? I miss a couple of months' work, you know. I haven't lost anything. You know, so, or, like, I just like the ability of someone ringing me up and going, do you fancy going to Saudi Arabia for 6 months? Yes. All right. And the next week I'm there. I can't do that if I'm working for the man, right? You know? And I know people have to do it. I'm not being disparaging about people's, you know, what the necessities, you know, what they have to do, but they dug that hole, and then now they're going to have to lie in it, you know. You wanted all those things. You wanted that car. You wanted that fucking £30,000 marriage with your fucking girlfriend, right? You know, you're still paying for that 10 years later. Like, good luck to you. That's what you want. Fine. But that's the way society's built now, around credit, right? You know? You're just locked in. You're a slave. That's it. I didn't really want to use that word, but I'm going to. So that's never appealed to me, and I don't know if that makes me unique or a fucking idiot. You know? I mean, I'm not happy when I haven't got any money, but I've got my skateboards, and you don't need money to do that. And I eat well. I cook. You know, you know, you don't need a lot of money, really. I mean, honestly, I look around me and I feel sorry for people. I really do. You know, they might be better off than me, but they're not looking after themselves the way I do. So I'm much richer than they are. I'm much better off. So, I mean, that's the way I see it. You know, people you know what the worst fucking word, the enemy of man, do you know what it is? It's summed up in one word: convenience. That is the enemy, mate. Yeah? So, you know, I'm going to jump in my car and go up the road and get a packet of cigarettes. Yeah, well, I'm going to walk up there. I'm going to run up there, and I'm not for cigarettes and everything. And it's, you know, it's just a, you know, so then like during COVID, they blocked off some roads and all that to try and create some sort of, you know, a cleaner atmosphere. And everyone's up in arms about it and all that. These are the people that get in their car and go up to the corner shop and back. They're the people. They are the fucking enemy. So when I hear them moaning about it, I just go, well, whatever. Serves you right. Shouldn't have spent 50 grand on a car. Somewhere to keep my stuff and to sleep. That's it. That's it. I mean, it'd be different for someone if they bought a home, you know, that's something maybe I'm missing out on, having that, you know, pride of ownership or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's just another thing that you've got to look after. No, I live in I've been living in the housing association, you know, I needed somewhere cheap to live, put myself on a list. 10 months later, I had a place, you know, and I mean, now that'd take you 5 years or longer. So I was lucky that I just got on with it, you know, and it's still, I think it's like 140 quid a week, which is, you know, I mean, I earn a lot more than that a day. So, which is what, you know, it should be that price, really.
It should be.
I mean, honestly, I know someone, I worked for this woman the couple of weeks ago, over in Hackney Central, and she's got this little flat, and honestly, it's horrible. It's just a horrible little one-bedroom flat that desperately needs painting. It's disgusting. And she gets 500 quid a week rent for that. Who pays her that for this? It's just disgusting. And plus, you're in a real high crime area. You know, all your neighbours are going, oh yeah, I love the locals and all that. Yeah, they'll rob you blind if you turn your back on them. It's true, you know. You know, and so all the doors have to be locked, and you know, I don't want to live. I mean, it's bad enough here, but you know, no one's trying to rob me. You know. Yeah. I can only really think of one thing that really holds, you know, deep significance for me in my life. And I'm sitting on it. Oh, it's gone. Oh, bit of a sweat patch there, sorry. You know, that is it, really. I mean, you know, I can't think of anything else. No. That's the most honest answer you'll get. The church. Yeah, I mean, I don't particularly care for churches, you know, but they're better than flats. You know, there's enough. They've built 10,000 flats around here since I've lived here, probably more. And they're just people that work in offices, right? So I lived in Shoreditch for about 6 years, you know, from the mid-90s, and there was nothing there. Like, literally, there wasn't a shop open at the weekend because it was so close to the city, and everything in the city's closed at the weekend, or it used to be. So it was just absolutely nothing going on at all. Yet, but people would come in and they'd move in and buy a place or whatever, and they'd start a business. So, you know, so it'd be sort of, I mean, we call them hipsters, right? But before hipsters, people would come in with the same sort of thing. They'd open a little shop and maybe make it look like the old sort of stuff, you know, selling all old weird stuff, you know. But at least they were bringing making the area in, you know, the area had an identity and a bit of a community feel, whereas office workers don't bring any of that, you know. They just have a place to live, and then they go to work and they sleep there, and then at the weekend they piss off back to Somerset or wherever they're from, right? They don't bring anything to this. So this should be a vibrant area, and instead it's just a little bit sketchy, you know. No, it was a horrible place. In fact, it seemed like every other weekend there'd be like a murder in the street, you know, on this street. It's crazy. You know, I'd be walking home late at night because there was no buses back then. It sounds like prehistoric era or something, but it sort of was. You know, all of that behind there, the football pitches and everything, none of that was there. The leisure centre wasn't there. It was just a bit of waste ground, and there was one solitary 3-storey house sitting in the middle of it. I think people used to come here and fuck prostitutes and shit. Seriously, it was like that. That was what the place was like. It's horrible. And then, you know, they spent 26 mil, I think, on that strip of land going up there to Mile End and beyond. But it's, you know, I mean, it's better than it was, but it's, you know, I'd like to know who got that 26 mil and what they did for it, because, you know, it's all a bit messy. An easel. Yeah, I'll probably have. I've got a screen printing press that I'll probably put in there. Maybe start, you know, creating some bits and bobs. Because I used to sell T-shirts, right, at all these concerts, and they were all pirate T-shirts. That is my camera. So I like to have my camera because a phone's all right for taking pictures, but I don't think you got quite, you know, you haven't. Well, it just doesn't feel the same, does it? Plus, it's a Leica, so they're really nice, crisp pictures that I get. I really like taking pictures of birds and things like that, and they're bloody hard to take pictures of. So, yeah, you do need a good camera. The clocks are about to go back, so it's going to be dark at 4 o'clock. So it's good to have a torch. This is a particularly bright one, but also this area can be a bit dodgy. So it's an excellent weapon. I mean, you can just sort of fucking shine it in their eyes, and that's going to probably get them to leave you alone. But yeah, it's kind of handy because I quite often take a shortcut through the cemetery. Sounds a bit weird, but it's a park. Do you know the cemetery park? It's over that way. It's the biggest wooded area in Tower Hamlets. And I love walking through there late at night, and it's creepy as hell. But like, I won't necessarily turn this on, but I'm gonna have it ready. What else? My skateboard. Sorry, that's obviously a very important thing to me. Generally got a pen on me. Surprisingly, they do still come in quite handy. Particularly these. Actually, it was a Jordanian guy gave me this. He gave me a whole box of them just before I came home. He said, "Here, have them." Milwaukee, you know Milwaukee? They make all the drills and things. Yeah, they're Milwaukee pens. He gave me a box of them. Nice. I've still got about 10 left. But yeah, they're very handy. And I know it's an obvious one, but my phone. And my earphones. I listen to audiobooks a lot. I've nearly finished part 5 of the Dune series. There's 6 books, but then there's another like 9 books talking about loads of other stuff. So I'm trying to get my way through all of them. Yeah, I like sci. I've been into sci-fi since I was a kid. Because when I was 4, I got taken to see 2001: Space Odyssey, the Kubrick one, and I remember it. It's like my first memory seeing this movie. So I've always been like a science fiction nutter. But yeah, I think that's 5 things, isn't it?